How many?
Now you can see the live button.
Oh, yeah. But I wouldn't know. Oh, there's one person, right?
Yeah. So, Bismillah, you don't need to worry about that if you don't need the glasses. All right. So, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Muhammad Thompson from Voice of Islam. We're down in sunny Queenstown doing some programs down here. And one of the programs we're going to be doing tonight is with Brother Philippe. He's going to tell his story shortly. I'll introduce him very soon. So, yes, the weather down here is beautiful. It's a bit quiet from what they're telling us. But inshallah, things will be picking up back here soon as more people get back here. Right, let's get on to it. Friday Night Live. Muhammad Thompson, Voice of Islam from sunny Queenstown. We have Brother Philippe, a revert to Islam. He's originally from France. He's now going to tell his story. Brother Philippe, I'll leave it over to you to firstly introduce yourself, tell us a bit about your background, and then how your journey to Islam came.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Mohammed. And thank you from Queenstown, where I live since 2018, and I'm glad to be on board the Voice of Islam chat. So like you said, I was born in France almost 60 years ago, almost. Still sub 60, I can call myself. And I was born in a Catholic family, but not really practicing actually. And I did I used to go to church until I was 12, and then occasionally on certain occasions. And like most French citizen, I would say it was like more like a routine and not having any kind of dedication to practicing. And how I ended up in New Zealand, it's a bit torturous kind of way. I was actually those days in France, you had to do your national service mandatory 1 year in an army camp. So, but there was a scheme for people who were pursuing studies to, instead of having to go at age 20 like everyone else, you could actually postpone up to age 25 and go on a so-called cooperation scheme, whereby instead of doing 12 months in an army camp and wasting your time, as I feel it would have been, we decided we were offered the option to be sent abroad to either be teaching the topics that you have graduated for, or to be opting for a private business corporation. So I did choose that when I finished my study at the Sorbonne University. I did a master's in applied mathematics, mathematics applied to social sciences. So I did find a sponsor in the form of a private French company. And then I was sent to Southeast Asia, supposed to be Singapore actually, but I ended up in Malaysia, alhamdulillah. And I was tasked to spend 16 months instead of 12 months. That was the deal, but it was a really good option, win-win deal for everybody, because the employer was able to hire someone for basically half the price, half the cost it would cost the company. And for me, it was all about gaining experience. So actually, when I finished my studies, within 6 months, I was sent to Malaysia. And if you ask me why Malaysia, is because I was working for a manufacturer of communication equipment, and they wanted to set up a distribution network in Southeast Asia. So I initially was meant to be based in Singapore, but it was in 1986, and like 2 weeks before flying, there was a change of plan because the hosting company that I was meant to be taken care of in Singapore was closing its Singapore office and moving to. I was asked to move to Malaysia. So because that was actually the recession, if you recall, 85, 86, there was a big recession in Southeast Asia. So this is when I arrived in Southeast Asia, and I was operating from my house. Basically, there was no structure, nothing, and that's where I got my real first encounter with Islam, practicing Muslims, and my real opportunity to discover about the religion. Yeah. So
So after that, moving a bit forward, after that sort of moving around and then ending up in Malaysia. So when you said you met the Muslims for the first time, how did that affect you? Like, did it make any difference from what you'd probably heard and read on the media, or did it attract something? Or if you want to continue on.
Yes, you can say that I was not attracted particularly in the religion. I was just discovering that, as you know, Malaysia, it's a very cosmopolitan. I mean, there are basically three cultures. You have the Malay cultures, basically predominantly Muslim, and then you have the Chinese culture, and then you have the Indian culture all mixed up. So I could see that, on Fridays, I could see that the Malays were going to pray, and whereas the rest of the Chinese and the Indian were not, but they were going to either temple or Chinese temple or Indian temple. But I could see, what I could observe already, that there was a kind of devotion on the part of the Muslim that was quite amazing. I mean, there was a kind of discipline that could be seen as long as Islam was concerned. There was a real devotion and discipline greater than other parts of their life. I mean, not everyone was like that, obviously, but there was a big chunk of the Malays that could not afford to miss a prayer and could not afford to go to a Friday prayer. So that, me coming from the Western world, it was something new to me. I was quite admirative of that, I can say. But at that time, I had no intention whatsoever. It was just an observation. Things really changed actually when I met my future wife. That was the turning point in my life and in my inclination to Islam.
So when you said you met your wife, so was that through work, or was that and then how did that affect you then to eventually accept Islam? So like, if you give us like the frame of what then led from there.
Oh, okay. First of all, I can say that I was in Malaysia since February 1986, and I met my wife in July 93. So there's been a big gap. During this gap, I had no inclination whatsoever, or no desire. No, I didn't feel any need to be a Muslim. I must be honest. But things changed when I first met my wife in an exhibition. So I could say, this is out of out of the necessity of my work, where I was exhibiting a security show, because I'm in the electronic security business. And so things really changed when I met my wife, and I started, to try to touch base regularly with her, and I was fortunate enough to meet a person who was a real practicing Muslim in terms of obedience and avoiding sins and avoiding and seeking the pleasure of Allah. So I can say that made me realize that if I really wanted to go to the next step with her, which was to marry her, I had to learn about the religion. And I can say that the important thing that she did, and that I'm thankful for that, thinking back, is she set the conditions right from the start, which I can say that in Malaysia it's often not the case. Meaning that she said, okay, if you have interest in me, it's you wish to make your life with me, you have to learn about Islam, and you have to accept Islam and accept it wholeheartedly, not being a Muslim just on the paper. So that's really what made me inclined and willing to learn about Islam, and we did it actually on step-by-step basis. She took me to there was a place catering for the non-Muslim to learn about Islam, and to learn about the what are the pillars of Islam and the conditions, the way of life. And we used to go every Sunday. And she told me, the best is you go there, you can ask as many questions as you want, because she could see that I was quite inquisitive and I like to ask questions. And Alhamdulillah, after about I would say about 9 months, then I decided that I was ready to take my Shahada.
So with that, so you said you saw how your wife was acting as a Muslim, practicing the correct way of Islam, and then you studied it yourself, and you believed wholeheartedly. Wasn't just because you wanted to marry, or was it now? It was both. You believed wholeheartedly in the oneness of Allah and the tenets of Islam and things like that, so that you could get married. Is that?
Initially, yes, I told myself, okay, let's see what is Islam all about, whether I can take it, because of course you always have stereotypes about Islam, especially in coming from a Western country. So I came, not initially, it was more to try to to throw questions that were a bit, I said, trying to find loopholes in the way they would answer my question. So I did ask questions that were the standard question you would hear from a non-Muslim, trying to make them thinking that they would be unable to answer. But Alhamdulillah, I was given the right answers, and also the fact that I like to see from the scientific point of view. I like to see that Islam is in the Quran. There are many quotes about the scientific statements that are found to be correct and were discovered much later. So that helped me to become convinced that was the right religion for me. But it was a gradual shift. It was not something that I can say, it took me a while to be comfortable with the religion.
So moving on from there, so once you made that decision, so what happened after that?
When I made when I make this decision, so what happened after that is I had to announce it to my parents, and of course that did not go very well. I mean, like, I hear a lot of stories about reverts, and there's always either the mother or the father would be very how to say very shocked to hear that, and that happened in my case with my mother. So I announced to them, and I still remember there was those days we didn't have email, so there was faxes, you know. So I said, okay, because I chose my birthday for my shahada. So it was on the day of my birthday. I was how old was I? That was in 94, August 94. So I was 33. Yeah. And I still remember preparing for my news and sending a fax, and you would get the answer because of the 7 hours difference. You would get the answer only. I got the answer the next day, but I had like 6-7 pages of fax. A reply from my mother, who, you know, pointed out. I mean, she was really disturbed about the news. Yeah. So it was a very challenging situation for me, and also for my wife, especially because and it has been ongoing. You know, it came to a point that, you know, I had to break the communication for a few years, because of the fact that there was no real things were made difficult when we were visiting. We were visiting my parents every single year for 9 years in a row. Yeah. And it was, every time it was like supposed to be a holiday, but it was not a holiday. So I must say, this, for me, this is my personal failure in making both my parents and my wife and the religion stick together. Yeah, that's my personal failure. I mean, things are better now, but it has been a rocky journey.
Yeah. So when you know, these things happen, they're not very good for anyone. But sometimes a little time apart can heal a little bit better, so it makes things more you know, able to be coping with it. And I'm sure now with you know, with grandchildren and things like that, usually the mothers and that are a little bit more easing off on those sort of things. But you know, then, so moving ahead from there, you know, accepted Islam back in, I think, 94, you said. So from there, you know, till now, how has the journey been for you, and with your new family, and then with children, and then moving countries and things like that?
Yeah, well, it has been also a bit rocky on my wife's side, but that was just at the beginning, because the father was not accepting that she married a non-Muslim. Somehow he probably did not think that she would be able to guide me, and actually, but it was just at the beginning. Eventually, things went very well with my parents-in-laws, to the point that my father was showing very much love for me, my father-in-law. And then we had a good relationship until he passed away last year. So we used and because my wife was very what I enjoy also in this experience is that we used to go every weekend, every Saturday to visit them with the kids, with the children. I have 3 daughters now, and this reminded me my youth when I used to visit my grandparents regularly. So I could relate, and I could see the warmth, the human touch in practicing that. And I know this is a very Islamic way of dealing with the parents and the parents-in-laws. So yeah, Alhamdulillah, it went very well, and we have been fortunate, yes, to have 3 daughters, and Alhamdulillah, yeah, we are happy, and we stayed. I mean, moving on, we were in Malaysia until 2016. My business is still in Malaysia. But what happened, I mean, moving on to the next chapter, is that our eldest daughter was just finishing her year equivalent of year 12 or year 13 in Malaysia. So she decided to pursue studies, and she wanted to do media studies and film. And she was initially attracted to go to I think it was a well-known school in New York, but my wife was my wife, even more than me, was totally against the idea of sending our daughter to this place in New York, so we told her to look for other options, and that's where we went to Australia, we went to New Zealand, and then she picked up the University of Otago to do a foundation, and that's how she was sent. She was below 18, so she was sent with to do a foundation year in Dunedin, and because she was 17 something, so we decided to all go with her on the first trip, and to meet the host family, a very nice family, and have her settle down. And I think that was the time that my wife really was taken up by the beauty of New Zealand, and I think that's when she got to think, oh, we should think about moving there one day. So that's how it happened, actually. Yeah.
So just going a bit of a side here now. So as you found out about Islam and you accepted Islam, so what is it that you think that you might be able to mention that attracted you to Islam that others may find Islam appealing to them that may not know about it? Because, there's a lot of misconception and misunderstanding and things like that. So is there any sort of things that you think that that you found out after your search that you may be able to enlighten others to, or even just to suggest, what they do to try and find out more?
Yeah. I can say there are a couple of things that I find attractive. First, I think, is the fact that I find the belief system in Islam is very much straightforward, as opposed to, I mean, in my case, I was Catholic. The fact that, you turn to your Creator to pray, you turn to your Creator to seek forgiveness, you turn to your Creator to seek for help. Whereas if you were in my case as a Catholic, you would have to turn to someone, an intermediary, to confess your sins, to seek mediation. And that is something that was already, that the first thing I can say that I quite liked in the religion. But, it's straightforward. The second thing is what is quite amazing is wherever, whichever country you go, you follow one rule. It's the same for all. As a Muslim, you follow one style of prayer. There's no, everyone is being dealt with the same way wherever you are in the world. So there are, there's, of course, there's an element of culture, but the fact that you have to abide to the same rules for me was kind of appealing to me. And then I think what I liked also is the kind of discipline that is imposed on you as a Muslim. You know, you have to do your 5 daily prayers. You have to observe the fasting. You have to make sure that when you have a guest, you honor your guest. You have to make sure that you set aside a certain a portion of your income. So all these things actually make sense, and I think that's what is lacking today in other societies. Is that these elements, of course, they are also, many of them are common in other religions, but because there is no following anymore, people have lost their compass, I can say. And moving to become a Muslim make me gain back this compass and give me a sense of belonging and a sense of purpose in this life.
Yeah. So the main thing, like, is having a sense of purpose, and you know that we have some reason to be in this life, rather than just here live for 60, 70, 80, 90 years and just make as much money as we can or do what we can, and then we're worm food. So
Exactly.
so having this purpose is really then something that I come from a similar background of Catholicism and things like that, so I had the same issues. But you have this purpose and you have this something you think is then worthwhile, and then you can pursue that, and you can pursue it by and then worshipping your creator directly rather than having to go through intermediaries and things like that. So and then moving on from there, so now you're finding Islam. You've been Muslim now for 20 something years or more, and so just how it's been in those probably last few years, now that you're doing other things, that you're sort of seeing and helping other people find their way. So that sort of leads now on to another part of your life that you've created in New Zealand since moving to sunny Queenstown. And
Yep.
do you want to just explain a little bit about what else you've done since you've come here to help others in that quest to find the purpose?
Yeah, sure. So we actually, one of the purpose of moving to New Zealand, I must say it was all driven by my wife. My wife had a vision to uh, move to do what she called hijrah, to move to another country where we could see that the people there are have a very good ethics. They have Islamic values. In fact, I saw some Islamic ranking when I think New Zealand is top country for a number of years in terms of Islamic values. So
which is quite strange when you consider New Zealand's not a Muslim country, and it's won this top ranking, as you said, a few times. And I understand also the first, so it's been, so it's not saying that it's a Muslim country, but it's like you said, the Muslim values. So, and this is, being Muslims living in New Zealand, that's why we love living here, because that Muslim values, you see it. So, but the Kiwis probably don't look at it as Muslim values; they just look at it as their values. But their values are so much in connection with Islam.
Yeah, exactly. That's the beauty. I mean, we look at the people living here. They have this kind of fitra stick to them. Islamic. I mean, they have they are equipped with all the Islamic values, even though they are not Muslim, and that's the amazing thing. So, like my wife always says, she feels that it would be very sad for these good, honest people not to die without knowing about Islam. So that the idea was to actually move there and try to share the knowledge and let them know that this life that they live is not the end when they die, and they can actually move to another state, which is I mean to be in heaven and have the privilege of living a permanent life based on the good action, the good deeds they have done. And this is where we think that we as Muslim, we have a duty. In fact, we are commanded in the Quran to spread the message of Islam. So that was from day one. That was the mission that my wife gave to herself, and we were debating where to settle down. So actually, before Queenstown, we were in another part of New Zealand, which is somewhere between. It's called Moraki Borders. It's between Oamaru and Palmerston in South Island. And at that time, she had made also a plan to have an Islamic education center, but these did not work out that as we thought, because I was supposed to buy the resort. There was a restaurant souvenir shop to buy and get my residency, but things didn't work out. So eventually, we decided to move to Queenstown, which was actually her primary, a favorite place to locate, based on the beauty of the mountains. The one we were was more coming from my liking. So we moved to Queenstown in April 20. We were in New Zealand from November 2016, but we moved to Queenstown in April 2018. So it has been 3.5 years. And the first thing that my wife said is, there's no masjid here. Surprisingly, people have to rent a church on Friday. We were given the privilege by church to perform Jumu'ah every Friday, but she thought there was a need to make a proper, to set up something for the Muslim community here, as well as and give dawah. Yeah, so that's how this idea came in Queenstown, and so, here we are.
Yeah, so here you are.
Yeah.
So now where you're based, right in the middle of the town, right in the middle of the city, and so some of the programs and some of the things that you offer for people, because you told me yesterday that some of the things you're offering to especially the tourists that come here as well as the locals, and being right in the town, right on, or let you explain where it is and some of the things you offer there to help the people.
Actually, we did set up. My wife set up Islamic Education Center, which just simply called MIEC, Maz Islamic Education Center, because her name is Maz. And we decided that we would provide a space, and it was not easy to find actually, a space right in the city center for the Muslim workers as well as the Muslim tourists to find a space to come and pray, which before that, there was nothing in a 200-kilometer radius. There's no place to pray. So that was the goal number one, is to provide a space for Muslims to pray. 3 goals. The second goal is to make it possible for the children and as well as the adult to come to the center to learn about Arabic, have Arabic classes, learning the Quran. So that is the second goal, which we are still trying to achieve because it's on and off. We don't have a permanent person. And the third goal, which my wife is very devoted to develop, is the provide the knowledge materials about Islam, provide the authentic knowledge to the non-Muslims. So invite the non-Muslim to come, and whoever wants to learn about the religion, whoever wants to ask questions, take books, because we have almost 200 different books on many different topics, dealing with teenagers, what Islam say about Jesus, what Islam say about the hereafter, whatever. It's the place in Queenstown where you can really turn to and get knowledge. So these are the 3 missions that we have set ourselves to do.
And despite all what people or not all people, but a lot of people think that, Muslims want everyone to be convert, and we want to convert by, force and things like that. And as all Muslims know, or all Muslims should know, that there's no compulsion in religion. So basic, all our obligation is, as it is an obligation, is to pass the message. Whether someone wishes or chooses to become a Muslim, that's totally up to them. That's not as Muslims, it's not our prime thing. We have to please God first, and by pleasing him is following what he asks us to do. And that is, we pass the message. And that's why many people like yourselves, like Voice of Islam we do that sort of programs of passing on the message, breaking down the misconceptions, the misunderstandings people have about Islam and Muslims, and so they can actually then see Islam without the shading or the rose-coloured glasses, or however they say, of how people conceive, or some media outlets conceive or perceive, point out Muslims to be like. And this is, what you guys are doing, and very good work you're doing here, right in the centre of the town. You get a lot of tourists here. There's not so many at the moment because of the COVID, but they'll come back, but also there's a lot of local tourists around and things like that. So still they're coming in, seeing the centre, taking some of the booklets, brochures, looking at it in their leisure and things like that, and then being able to have a place of reference to come back and contact you guys, or the people in the names and numbers in the actual brochures, and then they can find out. And that's what, that's exactly what we're here to do, and like what you guys are doing as well.
Exactly, yeah. And it's it can be discouraging at times, but at other times it can be really rewarding. So it's a journey also, this kind of effort. And I must say that it's just like giving a gift. You're happy when you see people showing interest in Islam. You really feel that you have made an impact. And like you say, we are not trying to convert people, because this is not only our Creator makes it happen. We are just the facilitator. And there's so many, when you read the Quran, there's so many different passages where it's like almost like a mantra, that I'm here. The prophet or the messenger, we say, I'm just here to convey, but I'm not the one to convert you and to force you. So when you read the chapters in the Quran, in almost, I don't know, I didn't count, but one day I should try to count the number of times that it's mentioned. Like you said, it's something that is, it's not the goal. Our goal is to convey the message and to try to make it as clear as possible, as authentic as possible, which is why an important requirement for people who want to do dawah is really to base their knowledge and their message on the real authentic stuff that has no question of being questionable. It's unquestionable, authentic sources. The books, Al-Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, and all these, the highest level of books that people can rely on, that we make available in the center, so that we are not putting any element of culture or any element of geographic origin in the way we convey the message, which is where sometimes people might end up making this mistake.
Yeah, no, very good. So what I like to say as well is invite people on behalf of you guys. I know it's not my premises, but on behalf of you guys, anyone who's down in Queenstown now and for as long as what it is, come and visit their centre. Come and see Maz. Come and see Philippe, their team. They're in the level 1, I believe, of the Sofitel Hotel, which I think is at Drake Street or
level 2, yeah, Duke Street.
Level 2, Duke Street. I was close. Level 2, Duke Street. Just come in there, say hello, have a chat with them. They've got plenty of resources there, even if you just want to chat. So there's there you can see it there. The address, Maz Islamic Education Centre, and 8 Duke Street, level 2, the Sofitel, Queenstown. Come in, say hello, sit down, have a chat. Even if you just want to have a rest your feet on a hot day, just sit down and chill out a little bit. I'm sure they might even make you a cup of tea or coffee just to make you feel welcome. So that, I also then want to come on to the next thing, that you guys are so busy down here. Now you've got a big event coming up in, I believe, on the 19th of January. Do you want to let us know on that? And who
sure.
Some of the people that may be attending.
Yeah, sure. So we actually opened the center last March, and within 1 or 2 weeks of getting the keys, the COVID-19 came, and I was in Malaysia at that time, so my wife Maz had to get things organized, and we were told, we had the restriction to move in, so we couldn't do anything much until June, because the borders were closed. In fact, I had myself trouble to come back. I came back a few hours before they closed the borders. Alhamdulillah, my wife managed to convince me to come on time back, because I've been shuttling up and down. And we have been operating for a few months, but because of the COVID-19, and we were always thinking, okay, the borders are going to reopen, so let's make this an official open day event once it's happened. But realizing that it's not going to happen soon, then we decided that we would make this an open day without waiting for that. So we have an open day on the 19th January, where we are inviting the various stakeholders of Queenstown, whether it's the police force, the QL, the Queensland Lake District Council. We have the mayor, Jim Ball, the mayor of Queenstown, coming over to grace the event with his presence. We have some trust, charity trust, also community trust, community service-based charity trust we have invited, and of course we want to have as many local non-Muslim as we can come over and have a quick presentation to explain what we do, to let them know that they are welcome to pop by anytime. It's completely it's a community service that we do, so it's completely free, and basically we want anybody in Queenstown to be aware that we have this center that had yet to happen, has yet to happen. So we wanted to make official, and Alhamdulillah, I must say we have received good good view, good opinion, good reception by the people we have approached. We have been featured in the newspaper. I think next week there's another coverage. And Alhamdulillah, yes, we are happy with the response from the community, Muslims and non-Muslims alike.
Yes, so we invite, on behalf of the Maz Islamic Education Centre, everyone to come along. And so what's the time, Philippe? What time is it going to be open from until?
Okay, it's from 2:30 to 5:30 on Tuesday, 19 January.
Yes.
We are going to have it in the ballroom of the Sofitel Hotel where we are located. So there will be it's going to be a combination of there will be some speech explanation. I'm also getting my daughters involved with some briefing to the audience, non-Muslims, about what is Islam all about. There will be some a short video to give the essence of what is our religion as well, and there will be some food served, and there will be a question and answer. We welcome any question and answer to be given to be thrown to us for to sharing the knowledge about the religion.
So very good, Brother Philippe. And like, I just want to ask if there's any other things you might want to add to the talk you've given tonight, and and to maybe advice for people out there before we close off.
Right. Okay. I think. Okay. Can I would like to say also we are not a charity. We are registered on the charity services of New Zealand. So we do solely survive based on. Of course, we are privately funding this center, but we are also appealing to donations for people who wants this center to be actively and to add more activities in the future. So we want basically now our next goal is to have a permanent teacher. I mean, ustaz or ustaza to be manning the center, providing classes to the children and the adults. So we have this. I don't know if I can show it. So this is our, or you can maybe show it later on the. This is our website, which was done with the help of Voice of Islam, lakedistrictmuslim.org. And we have our Facebook page here. And we have, you can find information here for those who are interested to give donations. We have a bank account, which is right there, ANZ Bank. So that is, and you can see at the back, we show, this is our card. We explain here what we offer, and this is what I've just mentioned just now. So what I can say is, yeah, everyone is welcome. We will very much look forward also to have the tourists come over. I mean, the borders being reopened so that the tourists come over, because the whole idea is when you are a practicing Muslim and you come to Queenstown and you find that there's a comfortable place where you can perform your prayer. We have a male prayer area, a female prayer area. That's really it makes the your stay in Queenstown much more comfortable. So I would say, yeah, my message would be this center is for all of the Muslims who come here to want to pray, as well as for the non-Muslim who wants to learn about the religion. And they could be not necessarily, maybe it could be people, student, we try to link up with some universities and school, people wanting to do some research. So they need to, we had one lady coming over, non-Muslim, to come about asking questions for a topic that she was working on. So everyone is welcome. Yeah.
Well, very good, Brother Philippe, and very good for your team. It looks like your family are very heavily involved, with your wife and your daughters all involved. and they're working on, especially two older daughters are working on a special project for Voice of Islam, which we'll probably be able to talk to people about on another day. But we'd like to thank everyone for coming along tonight, listening, wherever you are. Maybe it's the morning somewhere else, maybe it's the afternoon. And we look forward to having everyone here again another time. And thank you again, Brother Philippe. Jazakallah khair, everyone. Assalamu alaikum, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Wa alaikum salam, and thank you for listening.